The stars were quiet, just like always. Captain Krell of the Threx Dominion leaned forward in his command chair, eyes fixed on the long-range scanner. The fleet was moving through Sector V9, deep space where no life had been found in over 100 years. Patrols here were routine, boring even, but tonight, something had changed. A blinking dot had appeared on the edge of the scanner, unmarked, silent, slowly pulsing like a heartbeat. "Is that a distress beacon?" Krell asked, his voice tight. "No, Captain," replied Sensor Officer Dren. "It's not in any known frequency range. It's ancient. Origin. Unknown, sir, but it's coming from human code. Very old human code." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew the stories. Humanity had vanished after the last solar war. Their planets burned, their fleets destroyed. No one had seen a human ship in over 70 years. Some believed they were extinct. "Captain." Krell stood. "Send a probe. I want eyes on that signal." The crew obeyed quickly. A small Threx drone shot into the darkness, speeding toward the signal source. Minutes passed. The signal grew louder as the probe transmitted visuals back to the screen. At first they saw nothing, just cold black space. Then dash movement. A shape emerged. It wasn't a rock. It wasn't a station. It was long armored and ugly in a way that made Krell's scales itch. The hull was blackened, with no markings. But it was too smooth, too straight, and too large to be natural. Magnify. The screen zoomed in. They saw a massive cannon fixed to the ship's underbelly. Strange turrets moved on their own, as if tracking targets that weren't there, and then they saw something even worse. A human flag burnt, a torn barely hanging near the ship's damaged wing. "Impossible," whispered Dren. "That's a human warship, but it's still active," Krell said. "That's not a wreck." Suddenly the signal changed. The heartbeat-like pulse grew faster. Boom. The probe vanished. No explosion. No energy spike. Just ... gone. Everyone on the bridge jumped. "What happened?" Krell barked. Dren was pale. "The probe ceased transmission. There's no trace left. Not even debris." "It's like it was erased," Krell's tail lashed. "Raise fleet alert level. No one engages without my order. Get me the high command." A warning alert blinked red dot. Another ship was missing. It's time one of their escorts the Vraxen. No distress call, no weapon fire. Just gone. Panic spread. Krell felt the cold pressure. A fear pressing down. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He stared at the warship on the screen. It hadn't moved. It hadn't fired. But it had killed 2 ships without lifting a weapon. The worst part? No one knew how. In the command room of the Threx capital ship, the mood had shifted. What started as a simple patrol had now become a potential first contact with a ghost, Vice. Commander Shan entered the bridge with his elite unit. "Orders, Captain." Krell nodded at the screen. "We're not leaving. The thing's a threat, and it's blocking our route. But we don't strike first. Not yet." "Then what?" "Board it." Gasps followed. Krell raised a hand. "I know it sounds mad, but we can't report back to command without answers. That warship shouldn't exist. It's still operational. We must know how and why." Within the hour, a small strike team was launched from the Threx carrier. 6 soldiers in black exosuits sped toward the silent ship. As their shuttle approached, the human warship loomed larger. It was shaped like a spearhead, built for speed and death. Scars lined its hull. Some parts were melted, others fused with alien alloys. The Threx boarding. Team found no resistance. The ship didn't move. No shields, no weapons fired. They latched on and entered through a side hatch already unlocked. "Too easy," muttered one soldier. Inside, the air was breathable. The lights flickered in slow red pulses. Metal walls stretched in long halls, each lined with closed doors, and everything was silent. Not empty, just ... waiting. Their boots echoed on the floor. Each step felt like it was waking something up. The squad's leader, First Claw Tem, activated his wrist scanner. I'm picking up low-level power surges. Life support's running, but there's no sign of crew. One of the soldiers opened. A door. Inside was a cryo chamber, dusty, broken, 5 pods. All open, all empty. Where are the humans? Another asked. Suddenly a faint voice played through the hallway speakers. One word. Leave. The soldiers froze. Tem stepped back. Said that. Show yourself. No answer. Just the same red lights. And the low hum of something deep within the ship turning on. Then came the sound of footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Human. But there was no one there. The team aimed their weapons at the hallway. But it stayed empty. Then another voice, this time deeper. More broken. You shouldn't be here. Tem tried to retreat, but the door sealed behind them. One by one, all exits closed. The ship was locking them in and watching. Back on the Threx capital ship, Krell stared at the feed. The team's cameras showed only red corridors now. Their audio was full of static and distant whispers. Then dash black. The feed died. Everyone held their breath. But instead of silence, the bridge speakers crackled to life. A video began to play. It showed an old human man standing in the dark. His eyes burned with hatred. His face was marked by war. He spoke slowly. This ship was built to outlive Earth. It did. Skip remembers. And now, so do you. Then the screen cut out. For the first time in decades, the Threx felt something they hadn't felt since the Solar War. Fear. Real fear. And the warship hadn't even moved yet. It was still waiting. Waiting for what no one knew. But now the Threx couldn't leave. Not without finding out what that thing truly was. Not without knowing if more of them were coming. The Threx capital ship floated in silence. No one on the bridge spoke. The last image on the screen, the human man's face, filled with rage, still burned in every mind. Captain Krell's claws tapped against his command chair. He stared at the now still warship on the monitor. It hadn't moved, fired, or sent another message. But the fear it left behind was worse than any battle. Are we still tracking it? He asked. Sensor Officer Dren nodded. Yes, Captain. It's completely still. Power levels are stable. No shields, no movement. But it destroyed a probe and erased our team without firing a shot, Krell said. This is not normal tech. This is something else. Vice Commander Sean stepped forward. We should destroy it before it wakes up again. Krell shook his head. No, we don't know how it fights. It may be asleep or watching us. Everyone turned back to the screen. The warship drifted quietly through space, its dark armor almost blending with the stars. It looked dead, but it wasn't. They all knew it. WASN. Then came a soft ping. Captain, Dren said, we're receiving a data signal from the warship. A small one. What kind of signal? Dren leaned closer to his console. Its coordinates. No message. Just a location. Where? Dren hesitated. An old moon, not far from here. It's no known settlements. The Threx used it once. For weapons testing, Krell frowned. Why would the warship send us there? No one answered. Krell turned to Shan. Prep another team. This time, keep them at a safe distance. I want drones and long-range scans. We're not walking into that ship again. Hours later, a small scout vessel arrived at the moon. The surface was cracked and dry. Nothing lived there. Wind blew fine dust across dead craters, but the scanners picked something up, a buried structure. Deep underground, the Threx drone hovered above the surface and launched seismic pulses. The dust cleared, revealing a hidden hatch hold and human-made. How? Did we miss this before? Sean asked. It was buried deep, Dren said. No emissions, no energy. Just dead metal, till now. Did the warship activate it? Krell narrowed his eyes. Maybe it never forgot it was here. Maybe it's reminding us. They opened the hatch remotely. The door creaked open with a groan. Darkness inside. One drone entered, sending back a video feed. The tunnel was narrow. Walls were marked with faded English writing, human writing. Then the drone found a room. Inside was a pod, a human cryo-pod, still running. Inside. A body, male, older, still alive, impossible, Dren whispered. No one should survive this long. Then the pod's lights turned green. The man inside slowly opened his eyes. The drone scanned him. Vital signs. Normal. The man sat up. Looked directly at the camera. He didn't speak. He just smiled. The drone feed cut out. Back on the Threx bridge. The crew stared at the blank screen. Krell stood up. Did we just wake him? Shan looked pale. If that's the ship's original? Commander, he's been frozen for over 70 years. Then why now? As if in answer, the warship moved. Not fast. Yeah, just a slow turn. Its front pointed directly at the Threx fleet. Lights along its side powered up. Systems came online, one by one. Weapons, shields, engines. It was awake, and it had a face now. The man from the cryo-pod inside the warship. Deep in the command room, the man stood alone. His uniform was torn. His eyes were red with age and rage. He placed one hand on a glowing console. The AI voice whispered softly, "Welcome back, Commander Rourke." He nodded. Status: fleet detected. Threx Dominion. Hostile. No warning signs sent. Then they're not here to talk. No, sir. He stared out the window. Dozens of Threx ships hovered in formation, their weapons primed, but none of them fired? Not yet. Rourke spoke again. Open the speaker channel. A harsh sound filled every Threx ship. It wasn't a weapon. It was a voice. This is Commander Elias Rourke, Earth Defense Navy. The Threx crews looked at each other. In shock. Earth Defense hadn't existed in over 70 years. You left us to die, Rourke said. You erased the truth, burned our skies and silenced our voices. But I never stopped listening. His voice cracked with fury. I survived. My ship survived. And now I remember everything. The warship's main cannon rotated toward the lead Threx cruiser. Go back. Tell your leaders. Earth remembers. And then the transmission ended. On the Threx capital ship, Krell gave a command no one expected. Retreat. Shan blinked. What? Krell's voice was firm. This isn't just a ship. It's a message. That warship survived the impossible land. It's not done. The Threx fleet slowly turned away. The human warship didn't follow. It just watched. Quiet. Still, but now awake. And the galaxy would never sleep the same way again. Space was quiet again. Too quiet. The Threx fleet had left the area, but not without fear. They didn't speak of it publicly. Not yet. But every captain, every soldier, every leader had seen the same thing. A warship. Human-made. Alive, and worse commanded. By a man who should be dead. Inside the Threx High Command, voices argued. Reports were shredded. No one wanted to admit what they had found. But silence wouldn't stop the truth, because something was changing. More signals began to appear. Small pings, all old human codes, spread across forgotten space. And one by one, alien ships started disappearing. Captain Krell stood again on his bridge, far from the ghost warship now. But his mind was still trapped there. He couldn't forget the man's voice, Rourke. A human who had survived a war. No one was supposed to survive, and now he was sending a message without speaking. 3 patrol ships gone missing in the last 2 days, Dren reported. No distress signals? Same regions where human signals have been detected? Krell nodded. We've awakened something. Vice Commander Shan stepped forward. We should strike. Now, before more of them appear. Krell's eyes narrowed. We don't even know how many are left. We don't know what they are. Shan leaned closer. But we know they're dangerous. Krell turned to the view screen. His tail twitched. And smart. Smarter than us.
Far
Away, in the cold darkness of a hidden sector, Commander Rourke sat alone in the command seat of his ship, He stared at the stars, lips tight, mind racing. The AI voice spoke softly. Message received from the old Earth relay station. Code Alpha 6, Rourke. Blinked. Repeat the message. The AI projected the recording. It was his own voice, years ago. Desperate, begging. This is Commander Elias Rourke of the Earth Defense Navy. If anyone hears this, Earth is gone. We lost contact with the colonies. Threx ships attacked without warning. We trusted them. That was our last mistake. The message cut off. Rourke closed his eyes. So much time had passed. He had waited, frozen in sleep, then woken alone. He didn't know if humanity still existed, but it didn't matter. He existed, and he remembered elsewhere. On a remote alien research station, two scientists studied strange radiation patterns. Coming from deep space, one of them, a Varnathi named Jekyll, turned to his partner. These signals, they don't match anything we know. Look at this energy curve. It's curved like it's live. The other scientist, Una, frowned. That's not energy. That's language, what? She pointed to the waveform. It's repeating like a pulse, or a heartbeat. It's not random. It's a countdown. Suddenly their screens went black. An image appeared. Commander Rourke. Again, only this time, he said something new. You forgot Earth, but Earth never forgot you. Then the signal cut out. The scientists stood in stunned silence. What? What was that? Jekyll whispered. Una's voice shook. That was a ghost. Ghost with a memory. Back in Threx space, a meeting of warlords and generals was taking place. Many were shouting. Others sat silent, disturbed. This cannot be real, one general growled. The humans are gone. That warship is a trick, maybe AI left behind. Then explain the other ships going missing, another said. Explain the growing signals. Explain why your fleets won't go near Sector V9 anymore. Hi, Commander Lexone, the most powerful voice in the room, slammed his claw down. We are the Threx Dominion. We do not run from ghosts. But even his voice lacked power. Fear was spreading, and still. The human ship hadn't fired another shot. It didn't need to. That night, human warship arrived at another forgotten battlefield, one filled with the broken hulls of alien and human ships. Here long ago, Earth had fought its last stand. Rourke walked through the war-torn hangar of his ship. He stopped by memorial wall names of his crew etched in metal. All dead. He placed his hand on the cold wall. They never told your story, he whispered. They thought we'd be forgotten. But I'm still here. The AI voice spoke. Another Threx ship is approaching. Small. Not a warship. Let it dock. Are you sure? Yes. The small Threx vessel slowly approached the massive warship. Inside it was a messenger, not a soldier. A young translator named Vela. She had volunteered. Or rather, she was sent as the docking tube connected. She stepped inside, hands trembling. Her translator device buzzed. It's quietly on her neck. The doors opened. She walked into a ship that should not exist. Dark, ancient, alive. Then he stepped into view. Commander Rourke, tall, tired. Watching her, you came alone, he said. Vela nodded. I came to speak, not fight. Rourke stared at her. You're the first Threx to come here without a weapon. She swallowed hard. We want to understand. We want to know what you want. He turned away, walking slowly through the corridor. Want the truth remembered? About what? About what you did, Rourke said, voice full of ice. You didn't just fight us. You erased us. You told the galaxy Earth fell because it was weak, but you attacked first. You broke the treaty. Illa said nothing. You say humans are gone, Rourke continued. But I'm still here. This ship is more human than anything left out there. He turned to her. Go back. Tell your people Earth's war never ended. It only went quiet. Vela nodded. Unable to speak, she returned to her ship, and the warship turned again. Ward the stars, hunting, watching, waiting for the moment, when silence would no longer be enough, and across the galaxy, every empire began to ask the same question. How many more warships like that are still out there? The Threx Dominion had sent its fleets. It had sent its warnings. It had sent its messenger. but the human warship still moved. Slowly, calmly, toward the edge of Threx space. It never changed direction. It didn't broadcast any threats. Yet, the Threx ships watching it refused to engage. Not one captain dared to give the command to fire, because deep down they all knew, if that ship wanted to destroy them, it could. Onboard the human warship, Commander Elias Rourke stood before a massive star map. Systems blinked across its glowing surface, old human colonies, abandoned stations, and places the Threx once attacked. AI, he said. Yes, Commander. Many Threx strongholds remain from the old war zones. 17, it replied, all heavily fortified. Some disguised as research centers. Rourke stared at the blinking points. And how many of those were built over former human territory? 17, his jaw tightened. Then we begin there. At the Threx military command station, alarms started flashing. Captain Krell had returned, this time with a full battle group. 20 ships, top of a line, trained soldiers, and still. His hands were shaking. We have movement, said Officer Dren. The human warship is heading straight for the station at Varlanot. General Shan appeared on the screen. Intercept it. Stop it. Destroy it. But Krell didn't answer right away. Instead he asked, What's at Varlanate? The room fell quiet. Then Dren spoke softly. Used to be a human listening post. The Threx took it after the solar. War ended, but we never told the galaxy that. Krell's voice went cold. That ship knows. And now it was coming. Above the planet Varlanate, defense cannons locked into position. Fighters launched from underground hangars. A full dome of energy shields powered up. The Threx were ready, at least. I think they thought they were. And then the human warship arrived. It didn't jump in like most ships. It slid into view, as if it had always been there, just waiting to be seen. Its massive hull glowed faint blue. The weapons lining its sides opened one by one, but didn't fire. Instead, a signal was sent. It wasn't a voice. It was a recording video. The Threx command center on Varlanate played the footage. It showed human civilians running, screaming fires behind them. Threx dropships landing. Then came soldiers. Alien soldiers, burning flags, killing non-combatants. 1. Frame showed a child barely 10 holding a broken cum device, crying for help. The recording ended there. General Shan's face went pale. The video was dated 73 years. Go to from the final hours of Earth's last colony. They had said it was a fair battle. It wasn't. The truth had been buried. Now the human warship had unburied it. The shields over Varlanate activated fully. Cannons aimed skyward, but the human warship did nothing. It hovered, motionless. Watching, then came the real shock. A second signal from another human ship in the outer system. Far beyond the battle zone, something big moved in the shadows. Another warship. Human-made, newer, bigger, and just like the first. Silent Captain Dren shouted, A second contact. It's not the same ship. It's another one. Panic spread. How many of them are left? Krell whispered. No one had the answer. Commander Rourke stood on the bridge of his ship. Is the second ship receiving our signal? He asked. Yes, Commander, said the AI. It's responding. Their systems have reactivated. Then we're not alone after all. He took a deep breath. Send them the target coordinates. Let them decide. The AI beeped. Coordinates sent. Awaiting confirmation. Back on Varlanate, the second warship began moving toward the Threx. Station. Fast. Too fast. It didn't fire weapons. It simply passed through the shield like it wasn't even there. The energy bubble rippled, but held no effect. The ship hovered directly over the Threx command tower. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, everything shut down. Power, lights, defense systems. Every screen went black. Every weapon powered. Off. Then the voice returned. Commander Rourke. This is your only warning. Earth remembers everything. Your crimes, your lies, your silence. Oh! He paused. This station stands on the bones of my people, and the feed cut. Seconds later, the second human warship fired just once. A single beam of light, no sound. No explosion. The Threx command tower vanished, vaporized in a perfect circle. Then the ship rose, back into space, and left. Captain Krell watched the whole thing from orbit. He couldn't move. He couldn't speak. No Threx weapon had even scratched the human ships they had come, made their point, and vanished. The war wasn't declared, but it had started, and Krell knew next time. It wouldn't be just 2 warships. It would be all of them. Every last human weapon, waiting in the dark. The galaxy was on edge. Whispers spread fast. Faster than warships, to human warships, once thought lost. Now very real had destroyed a major Threx station without warning, without effort. The Empire didn't respond with peace. It responded with fear. Inside the Threx Central Intelligence Vault, high-ranking leaders watched a collection of human video logs. Some were decades old. Most were damaged. But one log had recently arrived. And it wasn't old. It was new. And it came straight from Commander Rourke. The file opened. The screen showed Rourke standing in front of his ship's war table. A large hologram behind him displayed dozens of alien territories, each marked with a red line. He spoke calmly, but coldly. You've hidden the truth long enough. You said Earth started the war, that we were violent, we refused peace. But the truth? Turned toward the camera. You made the first move, and now you'll feel the last. The message ended. No request for peace, no offer of terms, just a warning, on the edge of the Tavari Nebula. A massive Threx fleet stood in formation. Over 150 ships, heavy cruisers, dreadnoughts, shield carriers, all surrounding one thing, a captured human prototype ship, decades old, left behind after the last solar war. High Commander Lexan had it brought here as bait. This will draw them out, he told his captains, and when they come, we crush them. They set the trap. They waited, and soon it worked. One by one, 3 human warships arrived, not 2. 3, each came from a different direction. Each looked different, old designs. Patched armor. Scars from forgotten battles, but they all shared one thing. Silence. They didn't open communications. They didn't flash signals, they just stopped. Watching. Waiting. Lexan ordered every ship to target them. The fleet aimed weapons, charged plasma, activated shields. Still, the human ships didn't move. Fire, Lexan said. The sky turned bright. Hundreds of blasts raced across space. All 3 human ships were struck, over and over. But when the light faded, they were still there, untouched, on board the lead human. Warship Rourke stood with a new commander, another survivor, Captain Hale. The last woman to escape the fall of Europa Station. She looked at the glowing screen in front of them. They hit us with everything. Did we lose shields? Rourke asked. Hale smiled. We haven't even activated them. Rourke nodded. Then it's time they learn. The human ships moved at once. Not fast, not wild, just precise. Ship unleashed a wide EMP wave. The Threx fleet's targeting system shut down instantly. The second ship fired a beam of compressed gravity. 5 Threx destroyers crumpled inward, folded like paper without exploding. The third ship, Rourke's, fired only once. A blue pulse spread from its core. Not outward, but inward. Toward the captured human. Prototype. The old ship woke up. Its systems turned on. Its lights flashed. And then on its own. It fired straight into the Threx command vessel. Lexan didn't have time to scream. His ship disappeared. In an instant, the remaining Threx fleet fled. Not ordered. It's not planned. Just raw panic. They left behind wreckage, bodies, weapons, and the prototype, which slowly flew back to the human side like it had never belonged to the Threx at all. In the blackness of space, 4 human warships now stood together. Rourke looked at the screen. How many more signals have we found? The AI replied. 17 buried ships. 9 still functional. 4 confirmed survivors. Rourke nodded. Bring them home. Hale stepped beside him. What about Earth? Rourke didn't answer. He stared at the stars. We're not ready to go home. Not yet. Not until the galaxy understands. Understands what Hale asked? That humans don't forget, and we don't forgive. Back on the edge of Threx space, the people waited for answers. None came, just silence and a growing fear. Because now, they weren't just afraid of one ship or two. Now they knew more were coming. The Threx Empire was no longer sending threats, it was sending distress calls. Entire fleets had vanished. Their strongest ships crushed, their commanders silent, and no one knew how many human warships were still out there that feared the knot. Knowing was worse than any weapon. In a dark room aboard the Council Citadel, 5 leaders from different species met in secret. Each one had lost something to the humans. A fleet, a station, a brother, a queen. One of them, an old Sithra admiral, slammed his metal claw on the table. We need to see these ships, study them, find their weaknesses. Another leaned forward. Can't even track them. They have no ID codes, no warp trails. They move like ghosts. Then, the youngest one, a Zorathi tech lord, spoke softly. There's one place where humans always leave something behind. One place where we might still find answers. They all looked at him. The graveyard, he whispered. The one they call the Tomb of Wires. The Tomb of Wires was a forgotten battlefield. Long ago. It was where human engineers made their last stand against the Empire. It wasn't a real graveyard, but it looked like one. A field of broken machines, shattered armor, twisted drones, and hundreds of dead ships all floating in silence. No one dared go there. The machines still moved sometimes, but the Council sent a stealth ship anyway, a scout vessel. No weapons, only sensors and scanners. Inside, a crew of 6 elite spies, trained to resist fear, each trained to survive. Until now, they entered the tomb. The first thing they noticed was the static. Every screen flickered. Their controls felt slow. Lights dimmed. They moved carefully through the wreckage. Burnt holes floated around them like dead giants. Scan that. One, the pilot said, pointing to a sharp-angled ship. Looks like an early human destroyer. A drone flew out and attached itself to the wreck. The data started coming in. Strange. Most human ships were wiped clean. But this one had something left behind. A log. Only 2 words showed on the screen. He's coming. The crew stared. Who? One of them asked. The lights went red. The ship's AI stuttered. Warning. Multiple heat signatures detected. Inbound velocity, 14,000. Crash, something slammed into the side of the stealth ship. The crew flew out of their chairs. The lights went out. Then the walls began to hum. Not with power, but with a voice, a deep, metallic voice. Not from the AI, not from the crew, from outside. You shouldn't have come. One of the crew, panicking, tried to send a message back to the Council. No signal, she said. No link. It's like the galaxy doesn't exist anymore. Then something crawled across the outside of the ship. It wasn't human. A mix of both. Long spiked arms. Glowing red eyes. Steel skin covered in black wires. And it didn't float. It walked across the wreckage like it was on solid ground inside. The crew watched in horror. The thing looked through the front viewport. Not scanning, just watching. Then it lifted one hand and tapped on the glass once, twice, 3 times. Then it vanished into the wreckage. Gone. The ship's lights came back for 3 seconds. Enough time to show a new message on the main screen. You are being studied. And under it, another, don't follow the humans. Let them bury their dead. When the scout ship returned to Council space, it was empty. No crew, no logs, no data. Only a strange symbol scratched into the metal outside the hull, a triangle inside. It, a human skull. and underneath a message burned into the steel in human writing. We are not lost. We are waiting. Word spread fast. Other species heard the rumors. The humans had machines that could move without power, ships that could think like predators, and most terrifying of all, the dead parts of old warships were waking up again. Piece by piece, like something was rebuilding them. The council tried to calm everyone. There is no threat, they said.
Owls, stories.
But the people weren't stupid. They had seen the footage, and now they asked the one question no one could answer. If humans were rebuilding their dead ships, what were they building them for? A small pirate fleet drifted into the Varnock expanse, uncharted space on the edge of known systems. They weren't looking for trouble, just old wrecks to loot. They found something else. The lead ship, Black Ember, locked onto a strange structure. It wasn't a station. It wasn't a ship. It was a cage, floating alone in the dark. Broken metal around it. Burned symbols on its side, human letters. The pirate captain leaned forward, zoom in. His first mate did. Inside the cage floated something massive, not alive. Not moving. A warship. It didn't match any design the pirates knew. Long, black. Scarred. Its front looked like a mouthful of jagged metal. Its engines were cold, but it didn't feel dead. Could be salvage, the first mate said. The captain smirked. Could be treasure. They sent a team. That was their first mistake. The boarding team entered through a side hatch. No resistance. No gravity inside. The walls looked melted, like something burned from the inside out. Strange writing lined the halls. Not human. Not alien. Just wrong. Then they found the crew, or what was left of them. Figures still strapped to chairs. No flesh. Just armor and bone, all facing the same way toward the front of the ship. The team leader tapped his helmet. Command, this place is cursed. Then they heard it. A sound like metal grinding on bone. One of the team screamed. Then silence. Back. On the Black Ember, they watched the feed. The video shook, static. Then, a new image came through. Not from the team, but from inside the human. Warship. A dark room. A man sitting in a chair, eyes glowing, skin pale, covered in black wires. He smiled, then whispered, "Do not take what belongs to the dead." The feed went. Dead. Then the engines of the warship lit up. It turned slowly, facing the Black Ember. The pirate captain screamed, "Get us out! It's too late." The warship's hull cracked open, revealing weapons not meant for this century. A red light began to glow underneath it, and then it's nothing. Just empty space. The Black Ember and its fleet were gone, erased in one flash of light across. The galaxy sensors picked it up. A blast wave, pure energy, not from plasma, not from fusion, but something older. More violent. A dead human ship had woken up and fired a weapon the galaxy had never seen. The council met in panic. This was a trap. They left that ship as bait. They wanted someone to come. They're testing us. Some suggested sending everything they had, destroy. Every human wreck still floating in space, but one voice stopped them, Admiral. Vental of the Jurak Empire. His hands shook. His eyes were hollow. "I've seen this before," he said. 50 years ago, they left a ship near our moon. We tried to take it. Within 1 day, it was inside our system. Within 2, it was gone. We found nothing left. They don't act like an empire. They act like a warning. In secret, the council decided no more salvage missions, no more scans, no more touching human wrecks. Let the warships rot. Let them drift, but not all listened, in the shadows. Another group moved. Scientists, mercenaries, hidden, governments. They wanted to know how the warships still worked. They wanted to know what powered them, what gave them life again, and worst of all, they wanted to build their own. But something else had already begun. In the deepest part of the expanse, far from any star, A second human warship lit its engines. It didn't send a message. It didn't declare war. It just turned and began to move toward alien space. The second human warship moved without sound. No broadcast, no signal, just cold, perfect speed. Alien scanners tried to track it, but most failed. The ones that worked showed only one thing. It was heading straight for the Sorellan core worlds. The heart of the Galactic Alliance, the Council ordered every fleet to intercept thousands of ships. The largest gathering of force since the First Outer War. They waited in orbit of Sorellan prime planet of light, culture, and leadership. Civilians were moved underground. The skies turned dark from the number of ships above. Then they saw it, just one ship black. Quiet. A shape that made even the bravest captains feel cold. It didn't slow down. Admiral Vosvik, commander of the defense line, stood frozen on his bridge. "This is it," he whispered. "The nightmare. Weapons locked on. Fire at will." Someone screamed, and they did. Everything plasma lances. Nuclear shells. Lightwave torpedoes. The human warship disappeared into explosions. Sensors blinked in confusion. A cheer began to rise. But then something moved inside the blast. The warship came out the other side untouched. Its hull had changed, grown thicker, sharper, like it had learned from the attack. And then it fired. One alien destroyer vanished. Then 5. The 6th was torn in half by sound. A weapon. They didn't understand. Some ships ran. The warship didn't listen. It moved forward. With slow, unstoppable power, but then it stopped. Right above the planet. Everyone held their breath. No weapons charged. No invasion. It just hovered there, and then a transmission? Only sound. A voice. Human, but old. It spoke in basic. "You were warned, you touched the graves. You took what was not yours. This is not war. This is memory." The message ended, and then the ship powered down completely, fell. From orbit, no crash, no fire. It landed gently in the water and stayed still, dead. Or asleep, teams were sent. Slowly, carefully. But as they approached, their ships failed. No power, control. The message was clear. Stay away. The warship didn't attack again. But from then on, across the galaxy. Whenever someone found an old human vessel and tried to enter a second warship, would wake. Sometimes a third, sometimes more. Each one different, each one worse. Until one day, they found something even stranger. A new ship appeared near the edge of the void. It was human, but it wasn't wrecked. It was alive. Fresh paint still clean. Its engines burned blue, not red. And it carried a signal the galaxy hadn't heard in 200 years. A human voice, laughing. "Nice try. Scavengers, you poked. The wrong ghosts. We're back." Across alien space, fear spread like fire. Because this time, wasn't just one ship. It was a fleet. The humans had returned. And this time, they were alive. And they remembered everything.